Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this series on God's promises to man, which is God's promise to you and to myself. So today we're going to pull this one from Joshua chapter 1. Actually, it's going to be a few verses in this chapter, but we're going to go verse by verse. Before we got to Joshua chapter 1, remember that here, Moses is gone. So God made a promise to Moses, and he told Moses that, okay, he shall be the deliverer. He shall deliver the children of Israel from Egypt all the way to the promised land. But by the time we get to Joshua chapter 1, the promise has not been fulfilled yet. And Moses is gone. So what do we do at this point? So God decided that he was going to choose one other person to replace Moses. So he decided to choose Joshua. And so verse 1 tells us that Joshua is gone. We get to verse 3 and it says that I will give you every place where you set your foot on, as I promised Moses. So this is God speaking and making promises to Joshua. Verse 5 tells us that no one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. So this is God promising presence to Joshua. Now, at this point, Moses has done a lot of things already. So he's already preparing Joshua's mind that you're about to step into some shoes. And that person did a lot of things, such as, crossing the Red Sea, so many other things that, Moses did by this point. Okay, so that was verse 5. Verse 6, which is very interesting here, tells us that be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Key word there is, or two key words, be strong, and the other one here is be courageous. That is verse 6. Verse 7, interestingly, same words are used. Be strong and very courageous this time around. So God is already giving him a warning right now. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to move you along, but the requirement is you have to be strong and courageous. Repetition in verse 7, be strong and very courageous this time around. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. And interestingly, in verse 9, another key word there, it says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. There has to be a reason why God is telling Joshua 3 separate times, be strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous. So that tells me that whenever God makes a promise, from when the promise is delivered to when the promise actually is manifested, there is going to be a process. And during that process, there's something that needs to be birthed during that process. There's something that you need to learn during the process. And for every promise, there is a principle. We are seeing all these good promises. So verse 9 tells us that, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So God is making all these promises. If I was Joshua during that time, then most likely I'll be wondering, why is God telling me multiple times to be strong and courageous? However, he did not get discouraged. But among all these promises, where is the principle? Because we should not just be interested in what the promise is. We also need to know where is the principle there? Where is the rule of engagement? Where is the condition in there? Because for every promise, there has to be a condition, something that you have to meet. Let's look at verse 8. Verse 8 says that, keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. That is the promise right there. So there is a relationship between success and the book of the law. There is a relationship between prosperity and meditation on this book. There's a very, very clear distinction there. So again, the promise to Joshua is, hey, I'm going to move you from this place to the promised land. However, you need to be strong, you need to be courageous. You do not have to be discouraged at any point in time, for I am promising you my presence. So that tells me also that presence is more important than possession. God's presence is more important than possession. So remember, for every, which word am I trying to get here? For every promise, there is a condition that must be fulfilled. And in this case, the condition is you must meditate on this book of the law always. It's got to be on your lips. And day and night, you have to meditate on this book. That's God's word to us. That's God's promise. And what he says is what he's committed to do. He shall only do what he has committed himself to do. So again, that's God's word. Let's stay motivated.